Okay, this lecture is a lecture that I usually give, pretty interactive. It helps me kind of gauge where you're at in terms of knowledge that you've gained from what we teach you here at UVU in the digital marketing program. And the topic today is about website audits, which if you've never done a website audit, we have done you a disservice. If you don't know the things that kind of should be optimized for or looked at in terms of an audit, the things on the board, which we'll go over. If any of these terms are foreign to you, we need to do a little bit better job digging in, and it's too late to do that now with you. But so if there's any of these terms you don't know, you need to take it upon yourself, look them up, understand them, understand why it's important, why it's relevant, why it matters. So typically it's a lot more interactive, but I'll do my best to kind of share with you some examples about a website audit. But I want to take you over to the board here, and kind of this is obviously not everything. Clearly, there's a lot more, but um, there are areas, categories of a website audit that I've kind of break it down into 5, sometimes 6, depending if they've built a paid strategy in. I've asterisked that one because that's usually not included in an audit unless they're already doing that as part of their strategy, and then that's kind of a separate audit in itself. Okay, but the categories that I kind of listed here, and just in brevity, again, that I kind of break it down to is I call one authority, one's more usability and customer experience, goals, organic SEO, and metrics SEO. Okay, and so hopefully you've seen a lot of these keywords, but I want to jump into a few of these that maybe you haven't seen and talk to you about them. And again, if there's others you haven't, look them up and understand them. So if you're gonna, the idea is if you're gonna perform, a client comes to you, or a friend or a family member or somebody comes to you with a website and says, will you perform an audit and let me know what I'm doing wrong or what I can improve? These are kind of the category areas that I would look into to see where they're at with their website. Okay, the most common one that everybody starts with is typically this keywords SEO. How are they doing on the rankings for the keywords they're going after? Most small businesses' problems with keywords is that they're targeting keywords that are just too challenging, too competitive, that they don't have the resources to go after. So we usually say, okay, then you need to go after long-term keywords. You should know what the long tail means, what long tail keywords are, but it's really important to balance those long tail keywords with the size of the business and the resources they have. My first experience with this, no, actually not my first, but my first experience at my last company, this was about 2015. There was an individual getting paid $5,000 a month to do keyword optimization. And he'd come to their meetings with a piece of paper, and he'd have the list of keywords, the ranking they were, and whether they went up or down that month. And that's what he'd bring for his presentation for $5,000 a month. And I looked at this when I first got to the meeting, and I'm like, okay, so I took these keywords back, and I went and looked at them. Of course, a lot of them are long tail keywords ranking first page of Google. And then I did a search and found out for 80% of his keywords that he's doing awesome on, there were 0 searches for. Okay, so here we are, 2015, and he's still making a fortune doing absolutely no work and no benefit to the company. So keywords, extremely important. But in addition to the keywords, content, layout, there's this term called TF-IDF. I want to come back to that and explain that to you and show you that with an example. It's kind of neat. But this is about TF-IDF is an actual term about frequency, inverse frequency. Essentially, it's about the keywords that you have on page, how much have you stuffed them on the page, but also with Google's advanced algorithm, what they're doing now is they're actually seeing how well you have relevant keywords around it. So how well do you address the topic in general and not just the keywords you're going after, okay? Google's doing everything it can to try to make it a better experience for the user, and us in SEO, we're trying to do our best to get it on the first page of Google, okay? And that's the battle that always takes place. Why did this come about? Well, because when I got my start at in this entire world at SEO.com, probably one of the first companies in this world, what did we do? Well, this is dating back to early 2000s. We would just write, say we were going after insurance, well, we would just write insurance, 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 right? All across the whole page. And of course, that's the keyword, so that must mean it's an important page. All of you know you can't do that today, but that's thanks to us trying to beat Google's algorithm. So Google said, no, you can't do that. You have to have some words and some context. So we would write a bunch of context, but then at the bottom of the page, we'd have insurance, 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 insurance in all white. We changed the font color to white. Google, couldn't see that it was bad, and there's content on that page, but man, there must be a lot of important stuff about insurance because it's on the page. That's where this algorithm came in and said, no more of that. Let's actually have it at an acceptable rate of frequency. Okay, so that's an important one. Keywords are an important one. Content, obviously, layout, all of that matters in terms of your organic SEO. Okay, sitemap, those type of things. We talk about, we probably don't address enough about metadata in the SEO world, and I want to show you a couple of these and why they're so important. Okay. If I were to ask you today, what is the most valuable real estate on the website, what would you say? Meaning, what in terms of organic SEO content does Google value the most? Okay, by far. Well, okay, this is my website. We're gonna pick it apart a little bit. Okay, this up here, right here, the title bar. Okay, still the most valuable piece of real estate. Title, your land, every page. Okay, you have, unfortunately, typically when you build a WordPress site, this title is called home. That is giving you absolutely no SEO value whatsoever. Okay. You want to have the keywords that are important to each of those pages up there in the title bar. Okay, second most valuable real estate is your metadata. So let's go and do another search. Utah doors. So this is a company I used to work for called SunPro. This is an argument I had with the SEO on this title bar. I want to tell you about this because I almost lost my job over this. I told him, if we change it to what he wants, I will quit my job because it's wrong. And I mean, that was after an emphatic conversation about this. So Utah doors, okay? So it's a long tail in the sense of it's Utah, selling any sorts of type of doors, garage doors, interior doors, exterior doors, front doors, whatever it might be. We want to own that term, okay? So we search for Utah doors. Outside the ads, we've got third ranking is right here, Utah doors, okay? SunPro products, garage doors, custom doors, door hardware. This is the title of that landing page. All right, so look at this, the second one, Utah exterior doors, entry doors, front doors, SunPro. Fantastic. Okay. My CEO wanted to change this and say, well, it should just say SunPro. And I said, you will lose this spot if we change that to SunPro. Because, the ego is, well, I want him to see my company. I want him to know me. I said, no, yes, you do. But more important is you want this to be on the first page of Google. And this is how you do it, this title bar, okay? Second important part is this metadata, okay, right here, okay? You can see this matters to Google because they're bolding, I don't know if you can see that here, but you can see it in your searches. They're bolding the words that are in your search, meaning, hey, this site not only is important here, but their context here also has the keywords they're searching for. This must be relevant. This must be important, okay? So this metadata right here is very, very important. And well, let me just show you, okay? These two things are commonly still broken in websites today. Okay, let me show you. Go into Ahrefs, Relate Foundation, Site Audit. Okay, so it's running a little audit. Okay, I got my health score here. Tell me the things that I've got problems with it. Meta description tag missing or empty. 203 pages. So this is even my own website. We've got some work to do. I'm a little upset because I hired an intern from our digital marketing program. This should be one of the first things he did, is gone to every one of these pages and get some meta description in there about the page. Okay? This is commonly missing on most websites. How do you fix this? Well, most websites with WordPress, you can buy a plugin called Yoast. Maybe it's free, Yoast SEO, and load that in. It'll have a little plugin that you can go and add in the meta description for every one of these pages, which we are now doing, and we will hopefully correct 203 mistakes, critical mistakes that are extremely valuable and extremely important. Okay, another thing. Let's go back to our website, okay? So Google, so let's go to, say, professionals, okay? And we pull up an image. Okay, so here's an image we've got. So what I'm gonna do is right click and inspect, okay? This is give me kind of the coding about this image here, right here. Okay, let's look at the name of this image. The name of this image is Relate Report iPad Mockup June 2020.png. All right. The problem with that is Google actually looks at the name of these images and uses it for site optimization. Right. You can have these alternative tags right here. Okay. Alt. What is the name of the image? In case it was originally for slow internet connections that would say, I don't want images, they could at least read what this image was about. Okay? And Google said, wow, if somebody takes the time to name this image correctly, it must mean they care about their site. And so it's still important that you name these images relative to the keywords you're optimizing for on that page. This image is not optimized at all for this page. We have work to do. We have work to do with all of our images. Very common mistake. Very common problem, still existing on many websites that it shouldn't exist on, okay? So these are common, what I call kind of metadata problems, okay? H tags, so H right here is the HTML for title, okay? You got H1, 2, 3 on down. Google values H1, H2, the titles of your sections obviously should be relevant to your page, to your keywords, and so Google looks at these and adds a little bit of value into them, okay? So these are things that you would look at, you would review. Actually, what's nice is when you use a tool like this, it'll actually tell you. So if we go back, here we've got, I think it comes down and says, hey, we have no title tags. One of these in here somewhere. Okay. Okay. So, excuse me. All right, enough picking on me and my websites. All right. So, metadata, also extremely important. Organic, very important. What kind of goals do they have set up? What's the purpose of their website? Okay. This is really important too, because not every company is a B2C and every goal is just simply make a purchase, okay? It might be lead gen, it might be informational, it might be to grab an email, grab something, okay? Pulling our students or our customers down the funnel pipeline. For example, Geneva Rock, one of the companies I worked for, sells concrete, okay? Before I even built their website, I went out and I talked to all the salespeople. And I asked them, I said, hey, what is one of the most common questions or the most common questions that you get from customers, okay? And one of the things they said was our customers just don't know how much concrete they need. So we've always got to answer that and figure that out for them. So what did we do? We built a concrete calculator, right? That enables the customer to get a little bit further down the sales funnel. Oh, I know how much I need. That way when I talk to my salesperson, I can tell them, hey, I used your calculator. Great, thank you for your help. Let's talk about it, okay? So purpose of the website's also very important. Conversion analytics, okay, what kind of analytics have they set up? What are they tracking? One of my favorite things to track is traffic, because it's, as long as you're working on your website, it usually goes up. And so that's a win in the executive meeting that you have regarding this topic. But you can cheat on those, okay? One example I give, going back to my days at the Clyde companies, we were working on their website. We doubled their traffic, we tripled it, we quadrupled it, and then we quadrupled it again. And I was stoked, like, sweet, we're killing it. We got people coming to the website. And then I went and looked at the analytics, and that second quadruple was all from India. And we function in the Mountain West, and that's the only people we care about. And so I could easily have gone to the executive, given him a chart, and said, look, we quadrupled again. But no, I actually told him, hey, this was from India. It doesn't really count. It was funny because he actually knew why it was coming from India, because the content we were publishing was a very new, innovative construction methodology, and India was very interested in this kind of methodology. So, oddly enough. Okay, usability, homepage, call to action, okay? What color should your call to actions be? Orange is right now currently the highest click-through rate. Red is popular. Blue, not so much. Green, not so much. Okay, so making sure your call to actions are correctly placed, functioning, working, accomplishing what you want, and of course your authority. It's really interesting linking, right? This is still a huge critical piece of success in SEO. Google still values linking very high, top 5 metric, the links that are coming back to you. It's funny how this has evolved. If you go back to my early days, okay, first thing we did, we knew links were important. So what do we say? You link to us, we link to you. All right, simple. Link farming. Boom, 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 boom. Google started to say, wait, that's not so good. We don't like that. So we then said, okay, Google came up with a thing called PageRank. They don't use it as much anymore, but they had this thing called PageRank. And what they said is, okay, if you have a PageRank of 2 out of 10, and someone else has a 7, and you link to them, it's worthless to them. Okay, they're higher authority. But if you can get a 7 to link back to you, that's awesome. It means here's somebody with a lot of domain authority linking back. So what did we do? Well, not everybody knew this, just us in the industry. So we started calling 7s and still doing the link exchanging, but we were doing better than they were for our customers because they were lower page rank. So Google didn't like that anymore. All right. So then what did we do? Well, Google said, okay, if you guys link back and forth to each other, regardless of page link, you're toast. Okay, the link's irrelevant. The next thing I'm going to tell you we did is what we call black hat in the industry. Not ethical, not moral, not good. It worked well for us for a while. And so what we did is we called these same companies and we said, okay, hey, will you link to us? We link to you. They didn't know any better. But what we did, because we couldn't link back to them or our link would be invalid, so what we did is we put their link on our website, but we just changed the font color to blue rather than making the link active. So it looked like a link, but in the coding, it wasn't a link. So we were getting link backs while not really giving links to other people. Not the best strategy. Anyway, don't do that either, okay? So, but linking is still important. What Google cares a lot about is that your links come organically even. So if you start your website and all of a sudden you get 30 links in a week, Google's gonna say, whoa, that's not organic. You did something to get those. What did you do? Probably not what you should have done, and you might get penalized, okay? So links should be organic, okay? That adds to your domain authority. You can look at your competitive analysis. There's a tool called Moz that will actually go look at your competitors' links and tell you which ones are probably the easiest for you to get. And so you get those same links because you have similar content. It's pretty cool, okay? Social, you can sometimes look at social and say, hey, here's a question for you. does a Facebook share of your link, an Instagram share of your link, a tweet of your link add to your site SEO? I usually get a lot of blank stares and like, I don't know the answer to that one. Well, let me show you something. No, well, yeah, let me show you this. Okay. Let me show you this page right here. Okay. This is done by Searchmetrics. They did a big research project to see what factors rank the most important to the optimization of a website. Google+, Facebook, link backlinks, there you go. Facebook, Pinterest, tweets, backlinks, link to the URL, etc., etc., etc. Okay, these are things that mattered to Google. Now, some of you have been saying, wait a minute, Google Plus is gone. Well, this is showing you 2016. Is it accurate today? Absolutely not. Okay, just after this, in 2017, Facebook said, wait a minute, we compete with Google for ad spend. Okay, people go to Google, but they also come to Facebook. We have ads running. So Facebook and other social media companies blocked Google from indexing and searching their content because it gave Google additional data, better data, private data, all of this information that made Google's results, advertisements, stronger and better than them. So why am I showing you this? This is kind of funny. This company was so accurate, I kept looking, well, when's they going to publish the next one? When are they going to publish the next one? Because these guys were so right on. Believe it or not, they had to kill it. And why did they kill it? Google made us. If you read their blog, basically they were so good at measuring and tracking Google's algorithm that Google came to them and said, look, we're going to penalize your website and get it off the first page of Google if you keep publishing this. So they probably still track it, and they probably got it really, really well, but they can no longer publish this. So the last one we have is from 2016, which is outdated because social media shares are no longer a factor in SEO ranking because they've been blocked, okay? All right, so we got site speed, okay? We've got mobile friendly. Google came out in 2017 and said you have 6 months to become mobile friendly. And guess what? Over 70% of the websites today are still not mobile friendly, okay? At least there's some job security out there for you in terms of work to be done for companies and for websites. Okay, this is a quick overview. These are a few of them. These are a few of the categories. These are things you ought to be researching, understanding, learning, and knowing. Okay? So, I want to come back and show you one of the cool things about content optimization and one of the things you can do. This is a software tool that I was able to get this year, but I only have a limited usage. So it's a tool that's listed, but you don't have access to it unless you need to this semester for a project. But I want to show you kind of how it works. It's pretty sweet. So what they do is this tool, and why I only have limited access is because this actually hits their server and really churns their server every time I run a search on this. But what this tool is going to do is it's going to search the first page of Google for a specific keyword set that I'm going after, and it's going to tell me content-wise, now not backlinking and all those other things, but it's going to tell me content-wise, what do I have to do to be successful in this category? So I recently wrote a blog for a company that I consult for, and in this blog, it's English for special purposes. Okay, so that's clearly the tag I'm going after, English for special purposes. I bet you can see better if I click the lights off. Let's see this. All right, I don't know if that's better. We'll find out. Okay. So, all right. I also found out I got the bigger TV, but I also found out it wasn't about the TV. It's just about lowering the brightness and all that kind of stuff, and it looks like you guys can see it better. All right, so we're going to go back to our tool, similar content, and we're going to say English for special purposes. That's what we're going to go after, okay? We're going to say we're in the United States, because that's where we're kind of targeting. English, desktop's great. Okay, search. Okay, By running this query, it's now actively going to the first page of Google, pulling all of the content from each of those pages, analyzing that content, and then running various analysis. And there's other things coming. This is actually a very new tool, a new company. So there's a lot of cool things he's still building for this, okay? But he's going through all these all these pages to help see the likelihood of ranking well for this term. Okay, so let's look at this. All right. So on the left, topic difficulty, okay? So it's mid-topic, right? So this is pretty competitive space. Top score achieved, 40, right? So there's, in terms of, this is TF-IDF score, okay? So this is kind of like how well it's been written in terms of content. These are the top pages here and their scores, okay? So they missed a couple of them, but you get the idea of their content. Cambridge.org. So their content score is extremely low. What is it being made up by? Well, it's Cambridge, right? So I'm sure their domain authority is phenomenal, all right? So here's even a couple of these. Fluent U is actually a competitor, so some of our competitors are doing well. Some of these are just landing pages of other universities looking at English, okay? Backlink difficulty low, okay, great. So we got to grab some backlinks. There's no paid advertising for this right now. And here's the various words, 1, 2, 3 word sets that you need to optimize for. Okay, really cool, but it gets even cooler than this. Because what we go to next is we go to Content Optimizer, okay? And what I do is I come in here and I grab my blog. I grab my content, okay? And I copy and I paste it in. Now, what this tool is going to do is it's going to review my content and see how I'm doing. Okay, so my score came up, just took a minute. 26.77. It said, the top was a 40. I got to be above 30 in order to compete just in content-wise. Now, this is not including backlinks and other things, but just in content in order to compete, I've got to do better with keywords. We come over here, and this is telling me the frequency that I need to be at for the keywords. So English, I'm 43 out of 37. I'm a little bit high, meaning I've overstuffed the word English, okay? ESP, which is English for Special Purposes abbreviated, I'm low, 17 out of 26. Students, 2 out of 16. Language, I'm high. So I now could go through and stuff my content with this information, with these words, double words or triple words, and it's listing it by in terms of importance in TF-IDF, okay, topics related, those type of things. So now I could go through this entire blog, and now one of the things you want to make sure is, how you're going to rank, where you're going to rank, okay? Your readability is obviously still important, as people can actually, because engagement's important, right? So it adds this readability concept, your tones, all those type of things. And now I can kind of edit, play with, evaluate my content and optimize it for a potential first page of Google result, okay? So really powerful tool, really neat. Again, I only have so many searches a day. So if you're writing blogs for your customers and you want to show them this, maybe show them this as part of your presentation or that type of thing, let me know and we'll work together on allowing you to use it. Okay, let's look at your assignment that we've got, because I've got an assignment tied to all of this, okay? So I will publish it right now. Probably shouldn't have, because I haven't optimized this video yet. Okay, so we discussed areas of strategy. That's on the whiteboard. The holistic audit of a website. Now I want you to do a little bit of research and come up with the tactics of the website audit in each of these categories. I want you to basically expound on these lists in the different areas, okay? So what's the expectation? A document with 15 to 20 tactical areas on the strategy. So give me some depth. Tactics can include various ways to accomplish that strategy. I want a name, a description, and an example. I give you an example in this document, or in this actual assignment. The document's well formatted, looks good, okay? Number one rule of marketing. You don't have to give the 5-minute overview that's in the class, so don't worry about that, okay? But in addition to doing that, I have another piece of this assignment. I want you to pick a software tool from the announcement that we have access to. I want you to watch a tutorial, play with it, spend a little bit of time, and give me a short description of one successful usage of the tool, like a practical application, kind of like I did with Ahrefs or the content tool that I did. But you can do it in just kind of a couple paragraphs or a little bit walkthrough, a little example on your document, okay? Here's the example of a tactic. So, strategy is organic SEO on site. Got it. Tactic number 1, page titles. Here's a couple of sentences as to why it's important, what it should be. It should be 60 characters. It should be relevant. Okay, it's where it's displayed. I added an image here, a quick image of an example. Done. Okay, then I go on to tactic 2, and I list tactic 2. Okay, you are building out this tactical sheet for one of these areas of the audit. What I've done here is I've assigned you the area that you're doing the tactical for. So if your name, wherever your name shows up, you're assigned to kind of that area. So we've got the backlinking authority, we've got usability, we've got goals, SEO organic, SEO meta. So go search the internet, go learn more depth on these areas, go dig into this, and write me a 15 to 20 piece tactical how-to or things you should look at under these categories that I've assigned for you. Okay? And then I've also assigned the software. You can pick one of the two. You don't have to do both. One of the two that I want you to spend a little bit of time possibly reviewing and analyzing and looking into. Okay? And I hope when you're done with this, whichever software you spent some time with is on your resume as a skill or as a tool, wherever you put that area. Okay? So this is the assignment. Oh, last thing I've added here too. If you're already out in the industry, if you're using a different tool like Screaming Frog or another tool that you think is kind of cool or important, give me a little abbreviation about it. Let me know if we should get it or if you think it's cool or how it's using that type of thing, okay? So this has been now posted. It's assigned. I'll send you out an email saying, watch this video first because it'll explain this assignment in detail at the end of it. And I hope in the end, you feel after you graduate or as part of this program, you feel capable of delivering a valuable audit to a client, to a potential company, and you can do that and feel comfortable using the tools to help you do it, and that you could deliver a comprehensive report on an audit. Now I'm going to leave you with one last important note. This is kind of the life lesson, if you will, in our field. If you don't already know this, the digital marketing area, marketing is already a little bit foreign, but the digital marketing area is extremely foreign to executives. The terms we use, the acronyms we use, they have no idea, okay? And executives have to be the smartest people in the room. Clients have to be the smartest people in the room. Their ego demands it. And so when you come to them and you blow their mind with these terms that they've never heard of before, they just get lost and frustrated because now they're not the smartest person in the room. So you have to find a way to dumb down this information without making them look stupid. All right? I just listen to how that is, right? Dumb it down, but still make them feel smart. Analogies are good. Why things are important. You have to gauge your audience when you're talking about these and say, well, are they looking confused? Do they not understand? My favorite is my last client was like, hey, Dave, you guys just go do your SEOs. My what? Your SEOs. I didn't correct him. I knew what he was meant. I'm not going to say, well, it's SEO, right? No, I'm like, okay. So understand that they don't know these terms. They don't know what's important or why it's important. Many don't even know what a backlink is. So be sure to find ways to talk about this stuff in a simple way that helps people understand the value of your work and the value of and potential value of getting it right. Okay, so I leave that with you. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. And you're not doing this. This assignment is individual, even though there's multiple names. That's just how it divided up. But it's an individual assignment that you'll do and get done in the category that your name is tied to. Okay. All right. I'm going to go with that.